Welcome to Paradigm Playbook, the podcast on the business of sports. With 50 plus years of experience, Steve Cook shares insights weekly, featuring top playmakers shaping the industry. Get ready to script your next play. Now, here's your host.
Hello and welcome to Paradigm Playbook. I'm the host, Steve Cook, along with Marcella Miciano. Marcella, a two-time guest on the podcast. Back in the beginning, Marcella was kind enough. It was before we were doing video content. We weren't on YouTube at the time, but we had a conversation. I think we were at the Swim School Association, but Marcella is the CEO and founder of Vivid Motivation, the Swim Academy, and she's a certified John Gordon trainer. And if you're not familiar with John Gordon, you're in for a treat. Marcella is one of our keynote speakers at the Signature Business Workshop, which is coming up in December, and we're excited about getting on the energy bus. So we're gonna talk about John Gordon has, I think he's written like 30 books. It's a lot of books, but the go-to book that if you're not familiar with John Gordon, I would suggest The Energy Bus. It's so much fun, so rewarding. It helps so much. So with that said, Marcella, you want to fill in some blanks about what you're doing now and what you've done in the past?
Yeah, great. Thank you. I love being here and doing anything about talking about energy, positivity, and moving a business, a team, or even one's own family or personal growth forward. So thank you. And I like to be on this bus with you, Steve. So this is great. I have been very privileged. I ran my own company of swim school, recreation, and youth camps, as well as even being in the realm of third level and swim consultant as a client and then now as a consultant. So I'm excited about that. And I created Vivid Motivation to really go out there and serve the community of our children activity centers. Everything from youth sports, swimming, gymnastics, ninja, and dance, and anything that does with sports and children's driven youth and wellness. A happier place means our kids are happier, healthier, and we're making great things happen. So I love being in this industry.
So are you doing all staff workshops on site at child activity centers?
That was one of my purposes. After I sold my swim school, I really wanted to go out and serve others, which means really go out on site, do these workshops, create that team of positivity that also has action steps and principles and things that you can bring to your team that actually makes sense. One of the key things I love about doing this training that really attracted me is that I have seen from the hospitality industry of creating children's programs from scratch to being in my own business that positivity can make a change in the productivity, your retention of your team, overall health for yourself as an owner, an entrepreneur, or a emerging leader in your organization or association. It is my mission to get out there to really make a change.
And one of the ways that we're tying this into the mission of Signature Business Workshop, the energy of you and your team makes a difference in the bottom line. So the energy of your business, the fuel of your business is cash flow, but energy of your entire team makes such a difference. I found it fascinating when I first listened to the book before I read it, and I'm not sure which I recommend. It's good both ways, but the audio is very good.
I like both. It is hard. Sometimes when you're traveling, like we do, Steve, in between going on site and doing some consulting gigs, I love putting the audio in. So it's just based on how you learn, right?
When you list out the 10 keys to positivity or to the energy bus, a lot of it will seem like common sense. Common sense isn't all that common. And I think that's a key to it. Marcella, as a child, let's go back to high school. What was your go-to? Were you an athlete, a bookworm, a teacher's pet? Let's get a picture.
My mom probably wanted to be more the bookworm, but I was definitely an athlete. I played all three sports. Volleyball was my passion, basketball, and track. Track, I wasn't like the fastest around the track, but I actually could throw a shot put pretty darn far. So no one knows that, but it's funny. You're like, you what? I go, yeah. I learned it in my junior year of high school. My coach said, listen, I want you to come out and try out for the track team. I said, are you sure?
I was a gymnast in high school, and the track coach came after me and turned me into a pole vaulter. I guess they noticed certain abilities, and that's where they put you in. And volleyball right now is just getting an incredible boost. We're dealing with a lot of facilities that are adding space for volleyball, and boys and girls, but the junior girls volleyball is huge right now. I don't know how many of our listeners have that in their space, but if you got room for an extra court, you can fit in an extra 30 by 60. It's a good thing to do. Okay, so let's focus, if we can, for a couple minutes on the energy bus. And this is what Marcella is going to be presenting at the conference, and specifically how to take these rules and this way of thinking to improve your business so your business does better and you make more money so you can invest more in children. So everything goes back to the kids. That's what we're trying to do. I don't know a lot, but I do know that it's based around 10 rules. So you want to start, tell us what rule number 1 is, and let's start there.
10 rules for the ride of your life. And that means it's 10 rules that go from yourself, your organization, and your team. And all these rules integrate with how to be a successful leader, how to create a great team, and how to fuel yourself so you can maintain that for yourself, your team, your family, and keep moving that business forward. So the first one I love, it is basically you are the driver of your bus. And I love training this because people don't realize we are the driver of our bus, and we want people, as you read the book or listen to the audio, there's some characters called George, the main character, and the bus driver, how fabulous, her name is Joy. And it's definitely like a fable tale, and it's a fun read. And it talks about 10 principles that can actually fuel your life to make your purpose, your vision, your drive. Also things like enthusiasm creates more passengers on your bus, which represents your association or your facility or your business. There's things like have fun along the ride, but most of it is basically contributing to the 10 principles, living that life, removing negativity from the team. We call something called removing the negative vampires. I know we just finished with Halloween last month, but we talk about tools, how to do that, how to bring those people up, right? We're always trying to bring our team members up, and we go through that. We're going to, at the signature event coming up in December, we're going to go through a compact version of the 10 rules, but we're going to highlight 3 core ones, which is your purpose, your mission, your vision, who to invite on your bus so you as a team can succeed, and how you create the fuel to be that energy that drives that business forward. And it all ties in together. And we have practicum action steps, like how do you love your passengers more? If you're dealing about your family, how do you care and love your team more? I know that sounds fluff, but there's actually proven data about positivity gives you the competitive advantage in your business because it creates happier team members. It creates productivity. It also has a whole deal with wellness and well-being, retention. All these great things we'll share too. We have all kinds of data because I know someone out there listening is all about tell me the data. So we also have that. We have a path that you can take your tagline, your vision, where you want to go on the North Star. We come from sports. John Gordon's talked to major NFL teams. I've sat beside some of them, some of the greatest athletes in multiple sports, and I'm listening to them, and they all talked about their vision, having energy, belief, and optimism. We can do that, but how do you get your team to come along? Because you can't go, hey, I want to open 5 more sites, or I want to serve 1,000 more children in my community. If you don't have that North Star and the energy to fuel that ride forward, then it's going to be hard to keep your team on the bus.
It spurs a lot of thoughts in my head, but as I recall listening to the book in the beginning, it's when George gets on the bus with kind of a list of complaints. I forget, he was running late and his car wouldn't start. And I think the point to Joy, the bus driver, is that your life isn't what happens to you. It's how you react to what happens in the world around you. It's all talking about control. So link this into a business environment. And over the last 5-6 years, we've all been through so much with COVID and inflation and job status and all these things going on. It would be very easy to say, you know what, it's just too hard of a time to run a business. But those that do it right say, what a time to start a new business. And those that can do it and can take the world around them and say, okay, there's an opportunity for this, there's an opportunity for that. So one of the things that I talk a lot about, and Marcella and I are in the same space, and our vision is of the kids, and that's where we're really looking. And I know one of the situations that we're dealing with is kids is too much screen time, too much cell phone usage, all these things. And it's very very easy thing to sit and complain about. But those people, which is most of our listeners that are running a child activity center, are actually taking a step to solve a world problem. I don't think it's a stretch to say that part of your vision is changing the world. And I do this in some of my talks where the vision, the North Star, as you said, is the peak of that mountain. But now we have to put a mission together, and where are the stops? What are the first things? What are the tactics? And I think that is a little bit of what John goes through in the book. So number one, you said it's your bus.
Driver of your bus, right? You're the
Okay.
driver of your bus. The number two is basically like the desire, your focus of how to move that bus forward and who you want to invite on your bus. And we're using the bus as your business, your church, your child activity center, your association, your family. How do you drive that? And then who are you inviting on the bus? And what energy are you bringing to that, and how you can keep yourself fueled? And then, of course, enthusiasm and action steps, accountability, and doing it with care and accountability to your team. In this world today, our generations that are working in our child activity centers, we have a range, but we have a core that are in those generations that need to feel like you're being real with them and that you actually care about them and want them to succeed. We want to bring people up, not bring them down by creating a negative environment. And that can just be by the way you say good morning, how you doing? I go to a lot of sites and I just work with curriculums. I'll work with the leaders. I'll work with the owners, and a lot of times they realize, I don't know why my group's not happy. I don't see any smiles. And then sometimes we have to look in the mirror to kind of say, you're not bringing any energy when you come in the door. You don't have to be like me, woohoo! You can just bring consistent energy, feedback. Hey, good to see you. Hey, I saw the kids are all smiling on the balance beam yesterday. Oh, I saw that the team looked sharp. They were all dressed and had some energy. Sometimes the simple things are powerful.
Is there a way that, let's say we're doing an interview, we're bringing new employees in, and in our industry, a lot of our jobs are first jobs. We hire teenagers, we hire college students, we hire young people. And are there indications that you see in those people as to, okay, this is one that I can energize, or you know what, I don't think this is a good fit? What indicators are there as you're talking to young people?
Number one, I think they're deprived of some positivity due to the things they're seeing between news, what's coming at them. What they understand is all virtual, and what they see, not what's really in the actual workplace, what's happening, what they got to be accountable for. A lot of it is just listening, giving them some direction. Hey, you're on my bus, so I need to share with you, communicate more often what's going on, because there's a huge thing we talk about is negativity fills the void. So if they don't know where they're going and we're not supporting them and saying, hey, maybe sit in the front of the bus so you can learn a little faster, I can help you more. They need that constant, you're doing okay. This is okay, you don't know everything. And sometimes they just don't know what they don't know because they haven't been exposed to it. So to me, I think they're like a fresh canvas. It's like I'm taking them all, picking them up on the first day of school, and we can do so many things. So what if we get off track? I'm driving my bus. I can turn it back on to the right path I want to go for them personally, professionally, and for our organization.
I've listened to a number of different people talk about onboarding, and Casey Del Pret, and he talks about his in-water interview. So he runs a swim school. The interview process is in the water. A lot of them talk about a willingness to get silly. And I think sometimes that we are hiring them to work. It is a job, but it doesn't mean that we have to be serious all the time. And I think if you go to any job and your goal is to get it over with, it's going to be a miserable time. I think you have to figure out whatever you do. It's like the old Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I always remember it's like how they passed the time when they were working was whistle while you work.
I did work for Disney, so I might have had to practice that.
Oh, you know what? Maybe that's something that we got to do in Orlando is get the entire room whistling while we work. But I think that becomes a big part of it. It's hard to talk about one rule or key without leading into the next. So you talk about happy employees, happy people on your bus. And then the next people that come on the bus are your customers. And I guess my vision is that happy people are attracted by happy people. So if the people on the bus are already happy, you're more likely to get more happy people.
I think you nailed it on the head. People migrate to that as well. People naturally, and there's all kind of fun data about that, migrate to where they feel welcomed. There's some energy. There's people smiling or even just a little bit of a positive aspect. They communicate a little bit. That could just be language. People go, well, I'm kind of shy. Your language, your body language also talks a lot about your energy. Hey, yeah, you did a good job today versus I am so excited. You made those kids smile and you did an amazing job. Thank you for being here today.
When you're doing the training, is it hard? I know you're not asking people to be phony. It's like the energy needs to be real. If you go through the day and you're used to ho-hum, how do you start being more energetic? Maybe it's what you said. It starts with a wave or a smile.
What's great about the workshops and then those who, are listening or those who are going to be attending our signature event in Orlando is we're going to go through some of those exercises. You're actually writing down some action steps. Everything comes with a full workbook that the team members take, the leaders can bring with them so they actually can continue working in the workbook and some of these exercises and principles that are actually they transform the team. John Gordon has been doing this for 20 plus years and speaking to major Olympians, leaders, NFL, collegiate games. And that's why I loved it, because it was the positive energy. Dr. James Gill, he was 59 years old and did like 2 Ironman back to back. And one of the key things I really love and that we train on is instead of listening to ourselves, we start talking to ourselves, which is in here. If I'm saying like, we're never going to reach that 1,000 student goal, or we're not going to be able to serve our community and have those events, or we're not going to get built in time, or I'm not going to have the greatest team. You switch that around and say, stop listening to the negativity that you're telling yourself. Start telling yourself, like, we are going to have a great team. It's okay if we have some bumps. It's okay if we fail, because we're just going to restart the engine and go again. We can do this. And as entrepreneurs, and I'm saying that, living it from aspects of, I don't know how I'm going to get that pool open back after a hurricane. Half my staff, they don't have electricity. It's been a month. Some of them had to move back in. As a leader, optimism and belief and positive energy is what you need to drive your team forward. And it also is a skill of a leadership. Stop listening to yourself and start talking to yourself.
I want to talk about actually monetizing energy, which is an odd thing because I think too often people think of that energy, the positivity, as a nice to have, a fluffy feel thing, but there are specific ways that it relates to the bottom line of your business.
It's that intangible that actually turns into revenue. And I like to say money is a goal for the business, but also retaining, retention, and having the right culture and environment is the most powerful money maker you can have. And that is definitely proven that people want to work where there's optimism, there's belief, there's energy, there's positive leadership. The percentage of return of your product and your service goes up, and it's shared to your families. We're not building a trinket. We are building future human beings that are surrounded by their loved ones, the parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. So it's important that we are not just positive, because people think, just walk around being positive. That's not it. Positivity is work. It's like a muscle. You have to practice it. You have to build it. You have to revisit it. I'm not always this way. There's times where I'm like, oh man, I got to get this done. I talk to myself. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make an impact. Someone's going to be changed because I greeted them and said, hey, thank you for the job you did today. I appreciate that. Or I want to see you grow. It's all kinds of stats about productivity is linked to the bottom line. And that is creating a positive, energetic, accountable culture.
I'm going to put 3 actual price tags on what you just said. So one is the 2 brands that spread the fastest by word of mouth are a very positive and a very negative. They're the 2 things that people talk about. So if you're just okay, you're not being talked about. People say that I went to Chick-fil-A and everybody is so thankful and it's my pleasure, and that's a positive energy. You go to another fast food and maybe you don't get the same thing. You don't talk about it. But when there's energy, it's talked about. So it builds your brand. The bigger your brand, the easier marketing is. So that's one way of saving money. The intention and retention of staff is another one. So we spend a lot of money hiring and training staff. So even if the positive energy only keeps your staff around for one extra year, that cuts the churn on your staff and adds to your bottom line, because it's very expensive to hire and train a new employee. You're putting a lot of money in. If staying positive is enough to maintain your staff, I think that's a good thing. And then the last one is just when someone comes in for the first time, if they meet you, and it's like I always say with kids, if you get down on one knee and talk to them eye to eye, they're going to say, you know, that lady, that man was so nice to me. I want to go there. They may not want swimming lessons. They may not want to learn how to do a cartwheel, but because you're so nice, they're willing to jump in with what you do and they like you. So that's just ways that energy translates to the bottom line and builds the business. If we can do enough, and I know we've got short sessions at our event, but we're going to give them enough that if they're interested, they can reach back out and we can schedule a bigger session. So part of what we're doing there is connecting people. So we have accountants, we have lawyers, we have real estate people, we have all different people. But I find that the best students are those speakers. I was running a baseball clinic and one of my speakers was a major league coach for the Philadelphia Phillies. And he was the keynote and I was doing some lead up presentations. And I noticed that when I'm giving my talk, he was sitting in the front row taking notes about what, and I'm a high school coach, and he was taking notes about what I was saying. So going to events, whether it's ours or you go to Summit or boot camp, or there's a lot of great events out there. But if you go with the idea of being a contributor and a learner, so you give and take and keep that equal, I think it can be a wonderful thing.
I'm going to piggyback on that real quick because we're talking about data, right? I get it all the time. Marcella, you talk about positivity and you always have a positive outlook. I said, just like in our sports, right? Swimming, gymnastics, tumble, ninja, from the littlest guys to the more senior, is you have to practice that muscle. And one thing about the workshop, they're going to get some tools how to do that they can actually take right back. I got a sheet or two they can take right back to their team and do some of these exercises that create connection, commitment, community, and culture. We talk a lot about some 4 C's, which I think is humans today need connection and communication. And that is powerful in itself, because you have that, then we're all going to go for that goal. We're going to make that facility, we're going to make that kids program a success because we're committed for the purpose and the vision. And having fun along the way is not a bad thing, because as we know, we're only on this planet for a short time. Even though when you're 25, you think you're here forever. As your bus journey goes, you realize, man, we're only here once. We can only make this impact. So do it while we're here and do it with the right attitude. So I'm hoping I gave you a little Cliff Note version.
Is the last key enjoy the ride?
Enjoy the ride and have fun along the way.
Okay, yeah. So it's amazing how the book sticks with you. It's a little book. It's a fast read, but it never leaves your head once you get into it. It's awesome. Okay, so I really appreciate you being on. For those that maybe aren't coming to the conference or won't be able to see you there, if they want to reach out and just have a conversation with you or learn more about what you do, what's the best way to connect?
So there's 2 great ways. Number one, they can go to thirdlevel.com. I am one of our core consultants and trainers that do this workshop throughout our industry, as well as additional training and items under that umbrella, as well as I'm in LinkedIn, and you can go to vividmotivation.com. You can't forget that. Think of color and motivation and you got it. You'll see all my information on Third Level site as well. You'll see our speaker, all the speakers coming up. I just saw it this morning, Steve. So I'm excited. I've got my notebook ready as well, because we've got to be continuous learners to keep our bus moving forward. So please reach out. I would love to be in any children's activity center to help bring a little energy and practical action, transformational steps to get you there and help you build that muscle.
And anyone can also reach Marcella by reaching out to me at Paradigm Playbook, and we can connect you. So thank you very much. Again, we're Signature Business Workshop, December 7th to 9th in Orlando, Florida. We're going to learn a lot, but we're going to have some fun along the way. Marcella, thank you for being on with me. I really appreciate it. Everyone, make it a great day.
Thanks, Steve. Have a great one. See you in Orlando.
Thanks for tuning in to Paradigm Playbook. Explore more at paradigmplaybook.com. Want to be a playmaker? Contact StephenJCook.com. Share this episode to spread the word about sports industry opportunities. See you next week.